So, I first met Danny 30 years ago, and discovered soon after I met him that he and I had something in common, right? We both love Diane. And I remember when I first came over, she brought me over to the house for dinner, and of course, never met her parents before. And just to make it a little bit more agonizingly uncomfortable, Diane and I were living together at the time. So we came over together, and we sat down, and conversation started rather slowly. And but Danny did his best to make me feel comfortable, and he asked me, well, where do you work? And I told him. He says, oh, good. She finally brought home somebody who had a job. And that was his sense of humor, That was just the way he was. And then we got to talking, and we hit it off, and well, he ended up being my father-in-law, Gloria, and he paid for our wedding, and that was 29 years ago on May 23rd. It'll be 30 years coming up. And, we had times during our marriage when things weren't always great. I think anybody that's been married for 30 years can testify to that, huh? Yes. Right? But you know what? He was always just a phone call away. I talked to him a number of times. And he would talk to Diane, he would talk to me, and he always took her side. But, he was great. And, when you came into his home, you always felt welcome. You always had a smile. You always had a kind word to say. And he would never hesitate to have a conversation, to sit down and eat a meal with you, and to laugh and to joke. And sometimes we might have got a little bit carried away. Danny did like to argue. I think everyone knows that. But the point was, what I just said, he liked to argue. He enjoyed it. And we spent a lot of enjoyable hours together. And I'm sure I'll miss him just as much as everyone else, truly. So I just, wanted to say thank you to Danny one last time for letting me marry his daughter.
I just want to say that Danny liked to argue from the time he was 3. When we started going to school, he would argue with anybody. He didn't care how big they were or how they were going to beat him up. If he was right, he was right. And my job was kind of to step in the middle and keep him from getting beat up. That was my job because I was the older sister. He was amazing. He really was. When he started anything new, when he learned chess, he had to learn it to be the best chess player he could be. When he learned to draw with charcoal, he worked hard and he made beautiful pictures. The same with everything he took on. He never did a half job. He had to be the best at it. When we were small, my grandmother gave me piano lessons because she wanted to see her little granddaughter in a white dress sitting at a piano. And I worked hard at that piano, but I would study and I would do my thing, and then Danny would play it by ear. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. But after a year, when the recital came, the teacher asked me to sing. And I figured out that I wasn't meant to be a piano player. But he picked up any instrument, and it was amazing. It was amazing. That's something that's born in you. Justin has it. Matthew, it's in the line. And my father was a musician. All holidays we spent singing around the piano. That was what we did for entertainment. We didn't have any money when we were growing up, but we had a full life, and it was nice.
You had a very happy childhood.
Very happy childhood. You couldn't have asked for any better.
On the music part, and musicians will understand this, because you knew when he played piano, you understood what he could do. When we didn't spend a lot of time before we got married together, I did not know his talent. And we had gone, the movie, The Way We Were, came out, and we had only been together for a couple of months. First thing we bought together was his Fender Rhodes piano, the heavy big cow thing. And after the movie was over and we came home, he got on his electric piano and he played the score. He did not just da da, he's do do. It was everything. It was the entire song after song. It was absolutely beautiful. And I know you all had not heard him play the trombone, but that was his instrument. The trombone was his instrument. And when you hear him play piano and you hear that beauty that came out of his fingers when he did that talent that he had, it was the same with the trombone. When he played this beautiful song, it just came out and it was just an absolute dream. And I'm sorry you didn't get to hear that because it was absolutely gorgeous. It was really beautiful.